And I was like, help. I was like, can you just stay over here just in case? Because Trevante's weak and I'm weak and I don't know, we need help.
Shalom YouTube family, and welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome to the family.
So in today's video, we're going to be giving you guys the part 2 of how I had seizures and almost died in Africa.
Here we go. Now, if y'all haven't seen part 1 to this video, go check it out. We'll put the link above. We're picking up where we left off last time, where Jessica and a baby just got out of surgery. So now it's the nighttime, and now I'm going upstairs to go see Jessica and the baby. And the first person I go see, obviously, is Jessica. And when I walk in, there's really not much to see because she's still under the, what is it called? Anesthesia. And she was asleep. I just walk in, I see her tongue still swollen, it's kind of hanging out. So I go in and I put my hands on her, talk to her, give her some encouraging words while she's asleep, but she's still kind of out of it. Then I go across the room, which the baby was in ICU in the next room, which is a whole nother thing. And I go in there, and this was very surprising. I went in there and I just seen her breathing like crazy hard, like, and it really scared me low key because I was like, can she breathe? And I'm looking at the ventilator that she's on. I'm like, man, I hope she's okay. I hope everything's okay. But you know how it is being a parent, just stressing about everything. Also looking at her, she was so small. I think the doctors told her she was 0.8 kg, which is like 1.7 pounds. Just imagine, I can fit her in my hands like this, and she looked so fragile. I was like, man, I can't believe how small she is. It didn't even look real to see a baby that small. And she didn't have any of her features yet, and she just looked like a preemie. But the whole time, she really was good. We talked to the doctors and everything. They said she was breathing pretty much on her own at that time. So she was strong and healthy. And I was very excited how everything played out that night. So the night ends and I go outside and I sleep because they didn't let me sleep inside the hospital. So I went out and slept on a few chairs and waited the next morning so I could talk to Jessica, see if she was up.
So the first thing I remember is just waking up in the hospital. I don't even think I was really aware of what happened. Like once I woke up, I was just like, okay. And there was like nurses and stuff. They were, asking me if I feel okay, they kept asking me, can I see? And at the time, because obviously with the high blood pressure and everything, it made my vision go crazy, like right before I passed out. Yeah. And they were like, can you see? And I was like, no, but I didn't have my glasses. So I don't think I had my glasses for like 2 days. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, not really. I don't think it's worse than it usually is, but I can't really see now. Yeah. So they kept asking me that. They were coming in giving me meds, but I was just like in and out. Because whatever I was on was strong. I would sleep and then I was awake for a second.
That
I would sleep. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. So they like woke me up for food and stuff, but they kept giving me they were giving me like soup, but it was like soup with like stuff in it that needed to be chewed. And like we said before, my tongue was swollen to the point where it was literally hanging out of my mouth. It was, I couldn't close my mouth, it was hanging out. So I was like, okay.
It's funny now, but then it was a struggle.
It was horrible because obviously there's already kind of a language barrier. Yeah. And then no one could understand me. Like when he'd come in the room,
I was her translator.
He was like translating for me because he's my husband, so he could still kind of get what I was saying.
Like, they were like, and they looked straight to me like, what she said?
They were like giving me like a pen and paper to write it down. They'd hand me their cell phone, like just type it, because I was like, I couldn't talk.
Right.
So everything was just like, it was pretty rough because I've never had to stay in the hospital. I've never had a surgery. I've never had anything like that happen. So waking up and being there and he wasn't with me and I didn't know what was happening with the baby and I couldn't eat and I was just like, I just felt so exhausted from probably everything that happened and the medication.
Yeah, the seizures and everything.
Yeah, so pretty much immediately, I think it was the first day, the nurse came in and they were not playing. She was like, okay, well, we need to see if you have milk for the baby. And I'm just like, I'm like out of it. I was like, okay. Yeah. This nurse pinched my nipple so hard. Like, oh my God. First of all, I don't think you're supposed to handle a nipple in that manner. I don't know if that's how it usually works, but it was horrible. I was already feeling away because I'm in the hospital. I literally like screamed. It was awkward. And then another nurse came in to help me. They were trying to help me get back walking and stuff. And obviously they want you doing those things pretty quickly. So I could barely walk at first. Like literally he helped me stand up. I think I took 2 steps just for them to sit me into a wheelchair so that they could wheel me to the baby's room so that I could see her. So the first time I seen her, they wheeled me into the room and we were doing what they call kangaroo. So it's like skin to skin. I think that's what they usually call it in America, skin to skin, because it's very good for the baby's health. Like even a regular newborn, but for a preemie even more so. It helps them gain more weight. It regulates their body temperature and all these other things that the doctor told us. So they sat me in the chair and they took her out of the incubator to put her on my chest. And when I saw her, I was literally about to cry. She was so small. And he was recording me and he was like, "How do you feel?" Because I watched the video on his phone and like, once again, my tongue was swollen. I was like, "I'm trying not to cry." like I was literally trying not to cry. Like,
the nurse was like, "What? What'd she say?"
Right. She was, so I might insert that video, but I look busted, so maybe not. We'll see. So she was just, like, I was literally holding her right here, but like, even now I can hold her with one hand. She was really light. So she was just so tiny. And I was low-key scared to touch her too because she was so small. I've never touched a premature baby. I've never seen a baby that premature.
She had no fat on her body.
She had no fat, so she was like wrinkly because she didn't have any fat. She was like just everything. She was just so tiny. And then they had all the cords attached to her. She had a feeding tube in her mouth. So I was just like,
it's overwhelming.
It was very overwhelming. Like seeing her like that was really hard. Like obviously when you're pregnant, that's not what you expect. You expect to have your baby and then you just have this happy bouncing baby and everything's all good. So just, I was like a ball of emotions. It was crazy.
So fast forward a little bit, a few days after that. Now, I ain't gonna say a few days, a day after that. Now the baby and Jessica both need medication. We need diapers. I mean, we need all sorts of stuff for the baby and her. So I'm basically going back and forth from the hospital to the store to malls, literally trying to find preemie stuff, which was like the hardest thing to find.
They don't have preemie stuff here.
Goodness. It's not a thing.
Newborn stuff. They have size 0 and like we said, our baby was very, very small. All of that stuff was at least twice her size.
It said everything I've seen, diapers and everything, said 3 to 6 kg, which is like from 6 pounds to 12 pounds, for a newborn. So I was like, dang, these some big babies. Must be some big babies.
She was 0.8 at birth.
So just imagine me getting a diaper. I had to buy the diapers. Me getting a diaper that's for a 3 kg baby and putting it on her.
Yeah.
The diaper literally pretty much took up our whole body. It was actually kind of funny to see because they had the diaper just open because they couldn't put it on her body.
Right.
So they got her diapers, had to get all the stuff, medications and stuff for her. So
he got a breast pump.
Yeah.
He got my glasses and my phone that I didn't have
so
the entire time. So I could actually see. So I was only in the hospital for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
I believe, I don't really know.
Everything was a blur for you.
Everything was a blur for me.
4 days though.
But okay, yeah. So then we went home and we had to leave the baby there. So once again, that
traumatic, very traumatic.
Very traumatic walking out of the hospital after having a baby in the most traumatic way possible and leaving without her. It was horrible. So we came back every single day to do skin to skin with her. And that was hard. That was like literally our life for what?
Months.
2 months?
Yeah,
we're doing 2 months.
We literally had to do it like 6 to 8 hours a day.
Which is why we weren't making any videos.
Yeah.
That
was our job to do skin to skin.
We were in there, yeah.
But even just being at the house and having to do the daily activities at home was a challenge too. Because now Jessica was healing from the C-section and she can barely even stand and get up out the bed.
Right. And days after me getting home, he started feeling sick.
Oh my goodness.
So he started saying that he felt weak, he had body aches. And I'm like,
I barely can even.
I'm barely walking at this point. I had just started walking kind of good.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I'm sick. And I was like, oh my goodness. So once again, come through kid, William to the rescue. I called William and I was like, help. I was like, can you just stay over here just in case? Because Trevante's weak and I'm weak and I don't know, we need help. And of course he came and said, thank you.
Shout out to that boy again.
We love you, William. So yeah, he was here. And the worst thing was the next day when we were supposed to do the kangaroo, he was like, we can't do it. So I had pumped for the baby. We need to, because obviously we had to keep bringing breast milk for her. Yeah. And he was like, I think I'm sick. We don't want to be in there. And
get the baby sick.
And obviously we're still sleeping in the bed together. So he's like, well, we shouldn't go. So I went up to bring the milk. And the doctor was like, well, you really need to do the kangaroo. And I knew that, but we don't want to get her sick.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's just one day. Is it okay to miss one day? She was like, no. And I just like literally,
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I like broke down. I started crying in the hospital because like I didn't want to miss it anyway. Like I don't want to leave her here every day, period. And just all of what's happening, and then you're saying that even just missing this one day is like detrimental to her health.
Yeah.
I'm like,
it was a lot.
I was crying. Like I'm like walking back, coming down off the elevator and walking back to the car, and I called him and I'm just crying and I'm like, we can't miss days. I'm like, I was like, I don't care. I was like, if you're gonna be sick, you can sit in the car, you can sit on a bench outside. I don't know. We have to be here. And I was so upset. And that was the only day that we did not see her.
Yeah,
that was the only day. That day was enough to make me lose my mind. I was not doing it again. We were there.
So this is where a success story happens though. And we talk about this. Yeah. This little girl was so strong a fighter from the very beginning. She got out the NICU within like 4 or 5 days. Right. And she was in a regular ward.
She was breathing on her own
within like
quickly.
2 days.
Yeah, like 2 days.
You know what I'm saying? The Most High really blessed us and to have a strong baby. Absolutely. How she was. I'm talking about she was gripping my finger at like 3 days.
She was doing better than me. I was limpy and miserable.
We worried about her. She was getting it. She was strong.
She was so strong.
Yeah, so
she is so strong.
Still real strong.
Yeah.
So I would say it took about the requirements for her to leave was she needed to be at least 1.5 kg or like 3.3 or 3.4 pounds, and to be feeding, without the tube,
right,
and to be breathing on her own.
Yeah.
And so it took, to get to that point, it took about 2 months.
So the thing about it is, the doctor had even told us that it's normal for preemies to go up in weight, down in weight, up in weight, down in weight. So that was happening for a while.
Yeah.
They were saying she had reflux for a while, so they were giving her something to keep her from vomiting. Because at first she was on fluids and like a very small amount of breast milk, and then as her weight went up and as time passed, she was taking more and more breast milk. So we were feeding her through the tube that whole time. Then probably a month and a half after.
Yeah, we transitioned from her being in a ward in the incubator to now where it got real. Staying with her at the hospital, transitioning to go home. Yeah,
so they didn't even tell us. So we go to the hospital and the doctor's like, okay, everything's looking good, so she can get out of the incubator. So we're gonna admit you. And I'm like, what? I was like, what? Because they didn't even say anything. So he had to literally go get clothes and stuff for me because they're like, okay, you're staying in the hospital with her. And basically they see how she's doing, without the machines. Because up until that point, she had all those patches, all the machine beeping and stuff. And in the room with me, she was just in like a little rolly bassinet thing. And
so they went from being monitored 24/7 to not being really monitored at all. So that was nerve-wracking in itself. Like, is she okay? Is she breathing right? Because we was looking at the oxygen, blood, like all of that stuff. We could see it. Now she's with us and we can't see anything.
And we can't see it. So that first night. When I tell you it was hard, it was hard.
By the way, they told me, only she could stay there and I couldn't stay there.
They're admitting me.
Yeah, not
so baby of Jessica, because you don't name them for like a month here or something. So they're like baby of Jessica. I'm Jessica has to stay. Cool. So that first night was so hard because obviously I'm pumping every like 2 hours.
Yeah.
She has to eat every 2 hours. I have to get the milk and store it in a refrigerator, which is all the way down the hall. So I have to leave the room, go out there, get it, boil water.
And kangaroo her all.
And kangaroo her. I'm supposed to have her on my chest like this whole time. Like, so I'm like, how is she supposed to be on my chest? But I gotta go over here and I gotta do this, because that's the whole point. Like, they're getting you acclimated to doing these things on your own, basically. Yeah. So it was hard. I didn't get any sleep. Yeah. It was bad. So I was actually in the little, I don't even know what they call it, but there's like a little room with a sink where you can wash your pump and stuff. It has like a little sanitizer for all that stuff in the refrigerator where everybody stores their baby's milk. Yeah. So a nurse came in and she was like, "Where's the baby?" I was like, "In the room." Like, obviously she's like tucked up and stuff. I'm keeping her warm, all that stuff. She was like, "You don't have anyone to help you?" And I'm like, "My husband." Like, I mean, like, what do you mean?
But they don't allow, at the time, they didn't allow men to stay in the room, just women. So the other women would have their sisters and their mothers and
so
stuff
she's
like that.
They're like, "You don't have a woman that can be here, your sister, your mother?" No, my husband. And the nurse was like, "Oh, well, you just have to let us know,
security,
and we'll let security know." Yeah. Because basically the security guards will be like, "Hey, bro,
you gotta go.
Visiting hours over. You gotta go." Basically. Yeah. So after that, he was in there. And so we was in there together.
It was a lot easier once I got.
It was a lot easier, and by easier, still hard, but a lot easier.
So I'm gonna say the first night when I came, because my experience was a little bit different, and I'm gonna talk about her. And what she did.
Whatever. I'm gonna talk about him later anyway.
Okay. So check this out. So the first night we taking turns, throughout the middle of the night to feed her. And I'm sleeping. I think I was in the other room at the time.
No, you were in the bed with me.
Okay, so I was in the bed with you. And I'm asleep.
It's like a twin size bed. Maybe slightly big. If y'all ever been in a hospital bed, it's not big.
Right. So I'm asleep, and all I hear in the middle of the night is, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, what is that? She like, "I fed you. You ate. Why are you crying?" She like over there losing it. Like, she's not screaming, but she's like talking with frustration in her voice. Yeah.
Y'all know how it feels, whether you have a baby or not.
Yeah.
When you haven't had any sleep for an extended period of time, how you like low key go a little crazy. Yeah. That's how I was feeling. Like, I hadn't slept. Honestly, I hadn't slept good, like a full night, the whole time I was pregnant. Like, I was sleeping bad. So at this point, she's just up. I fed her, and like, it's kind of hard to feed her anyway, because I'm still like nervous about it, because we're still feeding her through the tube. She still has a tube in her mouth at this point. Yeah. And I fed her. She's just crying, and keep in mind, there's other people. I don't want her to wake everybody up. Yeah. So. And I'm just like, I don't know what to do. This is my first baby. Like, every baby I've ever dealt with, "Oh, you crying, you tripping. Where's your mama? Let me just drop this baby off somewhere." Yeah. But, and she was losing it, and I didn't know what to do.
And the only reason I bring this up, because before then, the baby couldn't do no wrong. She wouldn't get mad at the baby. She was fresh. Like, the baby could do no wrong. And I told her, you don't get to the point where we get frustrated with her. And it ain't always gonna be peaches and roses. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get frustrated. And that was the first time she got frustrated.
So now that we're in the hospital with her, there's all these things that need to happen. They want her to be at least 1.5 kgs before we can leave. Mm. They want her to be breastfeeding, or at least off the feeding tube. Obviously, she's not gonna be on the feeding tube at home. So we I'm supposed to like put her on my breast, but like when there's no milk. So after I pump and my breast is empty, I'm supposed to put her on my breast to get her used to sucking and stuff like that. So I'm doing that, and I feel like that was making it harder, because she kind of wanted to do that, and then feeding her other ways was like getting difficult. And then her weight, it would go up, then it would stay the same.
It was a roller coaster.
Yeah, they weighed her every morning. It was a roller coaster. It would go up, it would go down a tiny bit, it would go up again, it wouldn't go up at all, then it would jump up. And we were just like, when are we getting out of here?
And then I think, one of the most challenging things for us during that time was the transition, but from her feeding with the tube and not having to do any work and just going into her stomach to the cup. And she had to do that to be able to be discharged. So the transition was just stressful, because she didn't want to drink it. She would fall asleep. She would sleep like 23, 22 hours out the day. Yeah. So if we have to feed her every 2 hours, that means we have to wake her up, and she just would not wake up for nothing. Right. I'm talking about we could do anything. hitting her face.
Yeah. The nurse was like, "Oh, just wake her up."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay,
Try.
come try."
Nurse
And he was
tapping her.
she was like,
knocked out. So now we're getting to the point where she's about to hit her weight, you know, and we can go home. We can get discharged. So we finally get discharged, and now the moment we've been waiting for during this whole pregnancy, everything that happened, now we can finally bring her home. She hit all her milestones, and she's doing very good now.
Right.
So the day we bring her home, you know, we got a car seat from our good landlord and friend, Sarah. She gave us a car seat.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you so much for that. And we put her in a car seat. And man.
Boy, she is tiny in that car seat. You can feel like 4 of her in that car seat.
She was just looking. It was funny how
we'll insert the pictures so
Yeah.
y'all can see because she looked so cute.
But she was looking, she was so cute in that car seat. But we took her home, and now we're going to talk about the first night bringing her home. This was crazy.
I think that on the first night, she had to get used to her surroundings. Because keep in mind, she hadn't even been outside. She literally lived in the hospital for months. Yeah. So when we took her out in that car seat, that was our first time being outside. That was everything. So being in the house with us, obviously it was new. Sleeping in this crib was new. Everything was different. So it got a little rough.
Yes. In the middle of the night, she woke up, started crying, and didn't stop pretty much to the morning. So we didn't get no sleep, to say the least, that night. But, you know, we were just so happy her being at the house. You know, it was worth it. Everything that happened that night, it was a great experience. Especially now that we look back on it, because, you know, when you're going through the moment, it's like, damn, like I'm tired. Let me go to sleep.
Right, like anybody that has a new baby, I'm sure y'all know, like, everybody's like, "Oh, have a baby, oh, it's baby."
But they don't tell
like,
you.
Bruh, there are so many things that I did not know were gonna happen, and I should have had a heads up. Maybe I should have read something. I should have read what to expect when you're expecting or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, it got real.
Yeah.
But needless to say, we got through it, and everything that was hard got easier, and then I started feeling a little under the weather. I woke up one night and I felt like I could not breathe. And I was like, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is not cool. Now keep in mind, I was already in the hospital for some stuff I didn't want to be there for. We were in the hospital every day with the baby. So I'm just like, what is happening? So we went to the baby's doctor's appointment because we have been taking her every week to see her doctor to check on her weight and all that stuff. And
mind you, the whole time I'm telling her, you need to go to the doctor, see a doctor, because this is getting bad. You barely can breathe. She's like, no, I'm good. I feel like I'm getting better. And
because I was coughing and I would cough and then feel better. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's whatever. So I go to the doctor and the baby's doctor is like, you look
bad.
Yeah, he said I look pale. He said I look... So
sick.
he was like, you should, see a doctor. Yeah. So I went to the clinic that same day. So the first thing they do when you get there, like, first of all, you pay first. Like, they don't be playing with their money. You pay first, and then they call your number, and then you go to the nurse. They check your blood pressure, they check your oxygen level, and they check your temperature. He checked my stuff, and then he got on the phone, which was strange to me at the time. I was like, okay, so he's saying something in Swahili, and then he's like,
you need to go to the ER.
Yeah, you need to go to the ER.
I'm like, what?
And I'm like, right, we're both like, what?
We ain't coming for that now.
Right, we're both like, what do you mean? Because I'm like, we're about to go to the clinic, they're gonna give me some medicine, I'm gonna feel better, they're gonna give me some Mucinex, and the stuff gonna come up or whatever. So then we were like, okay, well, can we talk to the doctor? He's like, well, she said to go to the ER. I'm like, okay, well, can we talk to her? So she comes in the room, and she's like, your oxygen level is low. Like, my oxygen level
was at 88 or 89. It was supposed to be at 95.
Yeah, it's supposed to be at 95.
She was not getting enough oxygen.
It was 80 something.
It was very low.
Yeah. So she's like, you have to go to the emergency room. So I went to the emergency room. They started hooking me up to machines.
Can't get a break.
I could not get a break, bruh. I was like, I literally started crying. I'm like, bruh, I just got out of here. I just broke free and I had to be here. I was so upset. Like, when they said, we're admitting you, I was like, no.
And I was like, no, too. I was like, damn, I'm gonna have to be with her. And I gotta come back and forth to the hospital every day just to get breast milk because we was low on our supply.
I was not happy. So that was a Thursday. So we went on in a Thursday. I got out on a Saturday. So basically, They were checking me every day. They put me on oxygen first in the emergency room, all this stuff. They gave me medicine and all kind of stuff. Then they wheeled me out, put me in a actual room, and then I was on oxygen. They were making me do a a nebulizer. I had to take medicine through the nebulizer. I had to take pills. They were doing stuff on a drip. I was taking antibiotics. I was taking multiple things for the mucus, for my breathing. So what they said was that I had pneumonia
and asthma.
And they said I have asthma. Now, I'm 34 years old. I ain't never had no asthma. I still wonder if I have asthma. Like when I left, they gave me, I was on 2 different antibiotics.
And inhalers and stuff.
I had 2 inhalers and something else that was like some pills that were like for the mucus or whatever. So that was that. I felt better. They were trying to keep me an extra day actually, and he was like, nah, because he was coming every single day. And I had a stash of breast milk in the freezer and everything. He ran through that fast because every day, you know, she's growing, so she's starting to eat more and more. So he kept running out of milk, and like obviously he was coming every day and getting it from me. But I think because I was sick and stuff, I was producing less, so it was becoming a problem. So I went home. I took the rest of the meds.
And that was
it was good, and I was free. And I ain't had to go back. Praise God.
So now we coming to the end of everything that's transpired these last 2 or 3 months. It's been a lot, y'all. It's been a lot. And that's why we haven't been putting out videos like we should be. But now we back. We healthy. The baby's healthy. And man, we doing good now. You know, we getting into the rhythm of things. She getting her weight up. I think she about 5.3 pounds.
We actually took her to the doctor today, and like we said, she was born at 0.8 kg.
Which
right
is like
now.
1.7 pounds.
She is 2.4. So.
Which is about 5.3 pounds. So she tripled her weight in the last 3 months. So she's doing very well.
Very well.
So that's pretty much it, guys. We back now. We're gonna be putting out videos again. I know we said that last time, but then she got sick again, and all this stuff started happening.
Yeah, so we were going to make this video. And then that's when they told us that they were admitting me into the hospital. So then we didn't make the first one. And then, then we didn't make this one, the second one. And then we were supposed to do it again. And then I got sick and went back into the hospital.
I need to say, we back though. So y'all can be, this time for real, y'all can be expecting
for real,
at least like 2 videos a week.
Seriously.
And you know, we gonna try to put out good content for you guys. And just keep y'all on our journey. And you know, what we doing moving forward. So. We love you guys, and we want to say thank you for watching this all the way through. And y'all be blessed. Shalom.
Shalom.